In this lecture, we look at some of the features of ancient Egyptian culture and religion. The texts are actually rooms inside of the pyramids. The Book of the Secret Chamber chronicles the sun god's journey through the 12 divisions of the underworld. The pyramid texts are from the Old Kingdom and are the oldest collection of religious spells known to us from ancient Egypt. The coffin texts from the Middle Kingdom superseded the pyramid texts. The Litany of Re is divided into 2 parts. The first is offered to the sun god, and the second is a series of prayers for the pharaoh. In the Book of Gates, there is a reference to the 12 hours of night and an emphasis on the barriers or problems in the underworld, such as justice, material blessings, and time. The Book of the Dead is one of the most important of the funerary text, and it was also used by the commoners. The Book of Caverns shows a vision of the underworld of 6 pits over which the sun god Re must pass. The Book of Heavens documents the sun's journey, and the Book of Earth documents the sun's nighttime journey through the earth. I'm going to discuss with you several of the creation myths from ancient Egypt. This first one is about a Bennu bird. At the beginning of time, the waters of Nun lay in darkness until Re thought himself into being. At the first dawn, the Bennu bird flew across the waters, its great wings flapping soundlessly and its long legs trailing. The Bennu bird reached a rocky pyramid just breaking through the surface of the water. It opened its beak and let out a harsh cry. The sound rang out across the endless waters, shattering the eternal silence. As the light of the first dawn broke over the darkness, the world was filled with the knowledge of what was and what was not to be. The creator god is Re, and he has different manifestations depending upon the time of day. The first manifestation is associated with the morning sunrise, and one of the images that he has is him as a scarab beetle. Now the scarab beetle is called Khepri and was pushing a ball of dung into which it had laid its eggs. At the midday, we see Re with the sun on his brow, and it is said that Re will rule the world until the end of time, when all creation shall pass away, and once more the world shall be covered with the infinite flood of Nun. Notice that he carries the Ankh, and this was the symbol of life, for whoever possessed this symbol had the power to give or take life from lesser persons. Here's another creation myth that describes the birth of the pantheon of the ancient Egyptians. Shu was the father of the goddess Nut, and Shu is usually shown holding Nut and Geb, the sky and the earth, apart. The union of Nut and Geb infuriated Shu, who had cursed her, so she would never again give birth in any month of the year. She gambled, though, with Thoth, the moon god, and won 5 extra days outside the lunar month. In these days she gave birth to Osiris, blind Horus, Seth, Isis, and Nephthys. The story of Isis and Osiris is one of tragedy and jealousy. Osiris is the king of the gods, and his sister wife, Isis, the queen of the gods. Set is the jealous brother, the god of evil, and one day he made a plan to kill his brother, Osiris. He created a coffin just fit for him. Then he held a party, and he made a game of it and asked everyone to jump in and out of it, seeing if it would fit. Well, of course it was fit and designed for Osiris, and when Osiris jumped in, the coffin was slammed shut and set through the coffin to the far side of the world. Isis was beside herself with grief and searched everywhere for it. One day she heard that it had washed up on the shores of the Nile River. Well, Set also had word of this and got there before his sister Isis. When he got there, he chopped Osiris into many pieces and flung them all over to the parts of the world. Isis looked everywhere and was able to gather all but one. She had the pieces embalmed, and this was the beginning of the practice of embalming in ancient Egypt. Horus is the king of the gods on earth. Nephthys is the sister who was a mistress of the house of Isis and Osiris. Anubis is the god of embalming. Here is another image of a manifestation of Re at the later time of day. Bes is the protector of childbirth. Hapi is the god of the Nile River, and Hathor the goddess of music and dance. Mat is the lady of truth and order, and she sits in judgment at the time of passing. Here we see another image of Re, this time as Ta, the creator. Thoth is the god of wisdom and writing. After a person passes, it's Anubis who weighs the heart, and if the heart is lighter than a feather, then the person has a happy afterlife. In judgment sits perception and utterance, and all the gods of the northern, southern, and western ways. These stories are outlined inside the Great Pyramids of Giza. Some of the stories are outlined in the Valley Temple. This is one of the earliest works of architecture. It is a funerary complex of King Zoser at Saqqara, Egypt. This concludes the lecture on some of the culture of ancient Egypt and its religion.